Good afternoon, everybody, and again, we give God the glory and appreciate all the things that He's blessed our university and our football program with each and every day. This week is a big week from the standpoint of our supporting our military. I want to hope our fans can come on out and show their support by the parade on Saturday morning and also by the football game on Saturday afternoon, as we're going to have a military appreciation day to show our support for our military, allowing us the liberty and the freedom to do the things that we do here in the United States of America. From the ball game, positive, we won the turnover margin. I thought that was really probably the deciding factor in the game of going for the turnovers, takeaways that we received, and we had zero as far as us as not giving up the football. Defense had 5 3-and-outs. I think anytime you can get 3 plus 3, 5 3-and-outs, you're playing good football. Defense dominated on third down. 73% of the time, they did not convert on third down. They held them 73 yards in the second half, which is phenomenal. Offensively, we had 200 yards, over 200 yards on the offensive side of the ball as far as rushing and passing the football. You can't draw it up any better than that, particularly rushing the football or getting anything over 150 yards is a really, really great day for us. But I think that it showed about our football team an outstanding character win Again, we've been showing a lot of great character in the last 3 or 4 ball games, but then this last ball game here with the conditions, things weren't going well there in the first half, and then to come out and continue to play extremely hard, dedicated and focused, and executed very, very well. Turning now to Presbyterian College, they have a new head football coach there, and Tommy Spangler, very familiar with us, very familiar with Presbyterian. Has been a head football coach there. He's also been the defensive coordinator there the past few years, and he's done a good job. Even in his first season back as a head football coach, I've seen them improve in every phase. Their defense, I think just traditionally in the 6 years I've been here, they've always played very solid defense. No matter who's in there, no matter whether they have seniors, whether they have juniors, freshmen, or whatever they are, you have to earn every yard that you make. They don't give up a whole lot of big plays, but they make you earn it. And they run to the football, and they understand their responsibilities and do a pretty good job of that. Offensively, I think they've gone a little bit back and forth. They last week started Will Brock, left-handed quarterback, the redshirt senior, has played in a few ball games and has played a little bit during his career there. Gave him a little bit of spark there in the Monmouth game there. He had 3 touchdown passes, and early on they did some success as far as being able to move the football. So he gave them that spark. And so I think, again, I don't know whether he's going to start this ball game, assuming he will. So I think he's made some improvement as far as in his play. They could still play Ben Cheek. The quarterback has played the majority of the time. He does a pretty good job. He's probably a little bit more athletic, runs the ball maybe a little bit more in their offense and than the previous the quarterback. I think the special teams part of it, I think they're solid. They do some things there that we may have to make sure we're on track of things. I think they have some good people on the punt team. They do a shield punt and all that. They do a pretty good job on a punt return, kickoff return, and I really hope that we can really do a great job in our special teams there. We did a good job this last week, but I want us to really have a big edge in the special teams. Injury-wise there, Jalen McKinney is out with a lower body, and really that's about it. Everybody else will be ready to go. The keys to the game, I'm always going to come back to turnover margin. We have to win that. I think the games have been pretty evident. If we have a good turnover margin, most of the time we're going to win the football game. Then I want us to win the rushing. We need to average more in their rushing yardage than they do. Not necessarily the yards and all that, but we need to average more than they do. At the end of the game, I think if we have that won, then I think we have a great chance to be successful. Open up the questions.
Coach, as you look ahead to this one here, if you could just kind of talk about your senior class, 10 guys playing their final home game here at Williams Stadium.
Well, I think we got 9, 10 seniors here that are included. This group has really showed a lot of maturity this year. All the guys have done a fantastic job of communicating with each other. Great spiritual leaders. Really, just about all the guys there are understanding what Jesus Christ is all about. They've been very, very talented young men. I love the way they go about doing their work in the classroom, the way they support their community. It's just a fantastic class that I'm grateful to be a part of their lives, and I look forward to continue to be a part of their lives as they move forward in their destiny as far as in the rest of their lives.
Speaking of that senior class, what is the foundation you've seen them lay for this next group coming up for the transition year? About what type of mentality they need to take, what they need to do on a daily basis in order to build a foundation so this program continues to have success as you face stiffer competition and also move up in classification.
Spirituality, loving God, spending time with God, be intentional about knowing more about Christ. That's what I've gotten from this class. Those guys that are singing, they've been a little bit more intentional. I've heard conversations talking to their teammates about be more intentional of spending your time in the Bible. If you do that, then other things are going to happen as far as on the football field, in the weight room, in the classroom. There's been Trey Turner's, I want to say, been a spiritual leader per se, and there's quite a few other guys that have been tremendously involved. So that's what comes to mind, what they've been telling their teammates and what they're leaving in their legacy, not just the wins and the losses and all the things that have occurred from a football perspective, but I think they've laid a great foundation of being more intentional with the Word of God.
Coach, staying on the senior class, do you consider yourself an emotional person, and will you be emotional Saturday when these guys play their final home game?
I guess I have been. I guess each situation has its own uniqueness. Again, you focus on some things in your game planning and what you're going to do and all that, but you never know when the emotion will take care of itself, particularly when you're taking photos with them there right before the pregame and all those type of things. So that's where some of the emotional could come in, seeing their families and seeing the young man there in his uniform and playing his last home football game here at Williams Stadium. So, again, I'm open to being emotional. I let God take care of that and not ashamed of it and look forward to it.
Going back to the game last week, did the weather play into your team's advantage, you think? I mean, the way you guys went back to the run and were able to just kind of force your will on them in the second half?
I can't say the weather, helped us or hurt us. I think it was just all an internal decision by each young man to play like they need to be playing. Again, I think it was made even more about the character win. Did not let distractions, did not let the weather, did not let what happened in the first half. So there was many opportunities that you had that could have offset your focus. But I think it's internally they made a decision collectively as a group and as a team to go out and execute to the best of their abilities.
How did the offensive line grade out Saturday with what you're able to do performance-wise? No sacks, getting 200 yards rushing, 200 yards passing. What did you see out of them?
Well, I think there are some individuals that had some a great game. There's one or two maybe didn't play quite up to their par, but I think overall the productivity was good, was solid, was a very good football game there for the most part. I think when you run the football and get 200 yards, you have to give some acknowledgement of the offensive line did some good things. So I think overall it was very, very good. I think the thing is we just need to continue to play a little bit better early on a consistent basis. I think Coach Stam has done a great job of putting our guys there in a great position to have some success, make adjustments on the sideline has been very, very good. We just want to continue that here in these last two ball games.
Just looking ahead to Presbyterian, this team's had a lot of success against them throughout the years. I think 9 straight wins now. What's fueled that over the last in your time here? Just the way that you guys have been able to kind of dominate the series.
I think we've, just showed them on tape that they're a good football team. Whatever their record says or whatever, they're going to play hard. And you got to come out with a great mentality And so that's what we do. You know, we always talk about ourselves. We talk about let's look and see what they do well. We got to take those things away from them, offense, defense, and special teams. So we look at them like anybody else, and we coach up our guys just like anybody else. We point out the strengths. We point out some of the areas we can attack. But again, we don't change anything different than when we playing against anybody else. If I had to say the most common thing about our coaching staff and the way that I go about talking to our staff and to our players on each opponent. And again, I definitely very respectfully know this football team can play well.
The depth chart, is Brandon Tillman kind of giving you a little more to think about there at that safety spot with the or this week on the depth chart?
You know, I think Brandon has done some good things. Brandon Tillman there has done some good things, quality things there for him. I think a little bit of Elijah Benton is someone that we felt pretty good about it all as far as that goes, and so we've decided to go with him a little bit more. And we'll see how it all plays out with Corbin Jackson, Ryan Davis, and Seneca Espinoza Jr. Those guys, they're rotating in that safety spur positions that we kind of have that three-man rotation. We kind of try to keep them maybe sometimes at the spur position most of the time, but they can play in the back end. So we've had some very good conversation, myself and Coach Wembley and really the whole defensive staff, as we try to do some things here to try to be a little bit better on that side of the ball, and hopefully these adjustments continue to have us to improve. But it doesn't mean that those other guys still won't have a chance to play.
The way you came back and won that game Saturday with a second-half comeback, what does that do for this team heading into the final 2 games of the year?
Confidence. I think in some internal confidence in their teammates, how they know how to respond, but also there's some things need to be worked on. Still hungry about being able to play 4 quarters. I think that's a little bit of a talk and a little bit of edge about what we're talking about as an offense, defense, special team, and just amongst the players against each other. You know, we know we can play 4 quarters. We need to get these things corrected in a more quicker fashion, and not waiting to halftime to make some adjustments on that. But again, proud of the way they responded, and like I said, these guys have responded the way we wanted them to. As far as whenever we're talking to them, they know what to do, they know how to do it, and we just got to get that little edge right in the first and second quarter.
Got a chance with a win here Saturday to close out a winning season as well, to secure that. This team's had winning seasons every year since '06. Certainly every year that you've been here as well. What does that say about the program, and what kind of a marker would that be in this year?
Well, I think just like anything in life, are you consistent? We talk about consistency. We talk about are you doing things in a consistent way, academically, athletically, spiritually, socially, and so on. And I think as far as the football program, are we able to do that on a consistent basis? So I think that's what it states. If we're blessed and fortunate to have this win this week, we always want to be consistent. And that's something that we try to make sure we continue to do. And my coaching staff and our players understand that. And we have a high expectation of what we're trying to get accomplished here, both on and off the football field.